Hello everybody, Robert Stanlick here, and wanted to take a few minutes and talk about valuations on non-traded REITs. It hasn't been a good year for a lot of them. The one I'm getting the most calls on is the North Star Healthcare REIT, and I wanted to highlight some stuff out of the 8K filing that they put out that values the REIT through June 30th for their third quarter, and had a great discussion with an analyst with a third-party research firm that follows the non-traded REITs. So I wanted to go into that, but just to get started, let's take a look at the 8K filing that North Star put out, and I highlighted every time here in the first 4 paragraphs that it has estimated values, and you really get the sense of this isn't a real price, and it's an estimated price that they hired. In this case, it's Dunn and Phelps to do a valuation on the entire portfolio, and this one falls in, I think, is a good case example because they did it through June 30th. This was in the meat of the pandemic, and basically the world shut down. And the analyst, he says, the problem you do it this way is you're always looking in the rearview mirror. And their valuation really highlights that. North Star had sold about $400,000 of real estate. And they come in and look at their properties, and they actually only do a valuation on 20 to 25% of actual properties that the REIT owns, and then they apply that valuation to everything else that they have. Well, if you're looking back at that time period with the coronavirus, healthcare properties didn't look good. I mean, it was pretty bad, and Duff and Phelps, that's what they recorded. They took a snapshot. That's what they saw in the rearview mirror, and they give no allowance for being able to try and do any type of future earnings or increase in rents or anything like that. It's strictly what's happening with those type of properties at this particular time, and that's what we see, and that's how we're going to value it going forward. And you can see in here, I mean, there must be 12 times that estimated value through here. And the next line in here is they talk about their valuation, the estimative range that they give. And this is one part where they do try and give a few different points. This is right out of the 8K filing. And they have a low range, an estimated value, and a high range. Now, when you see weighted average capitalization rate, that's basically return on the investments in there, and they're all right around 6%. And it's showing that they're discounting the properties from where it was at a previous lower point, anywhere from 7.78 to 8.6% lower, just because of that snapshot at June 30th. So it's really tough because they value these once a year, and you see these on your statements, and 6 months go by from the June 30th, and you're looking at it and you see this $3.89 price, and it's aggravating. I mean, it's downright maddening. But what I have you take a look at is look at the average cap rate. Look at the range that they have in there and where it's at. And the thing about this particular REIT with the North Star is there's no empty buildings. This isn't shopping centers with vacant JCPenney's or grocery stores that have sat empty for 5 years, and you have destruction of the actual building. These are being used, being maintained, in use, so there's always a use for the property. So don't get too crazy when you see these low numbers. And that brings me to my second point. I was talking to this analyst. Griffin Essential Assets, which had a value at the third quarter of $8.84, entered into agreement to take over Kohl's Industrial REIT 2, which was priced at $9.92. And the way the deal was structured, the Kohl REIT is going to be about a third of the total value of the combined one. So Griffin's going to be 2/3, Kohl's going to be 1/3. But with the price that they are paying for the Kohl assets, it's giving them a book value of $12.30, I believe. A really high number, almost 30-some% higher than what Kohl was showing on their last quarterly evaluation. So these REITs have a tendency to go low. And you say, well, why in the world would they do that? Well, one, it makes people feel like there's upside from where it's at. And they don't try and sell it. They don't try and do a tender offer. And two, they are collecting management fees as long as these ventures stay the way they are. So there's actually an incentive for these management teams to keep the program going as long as they can. Now, Kohl owners are going to be thrilled because on their statement, they're going to see a big jump because they're going to pick up more shares in the combined portfolio between Griffin and Kohl. Griffin is going to spin it to their shareholders. We picked up some great assets. It's going to be accretive to earnings. It's going to make things better, and we see, a bright future down the road. So I guess what I'm saying is when you have these non-traded REITs and you see a price on your statement, that is an estimate from the board of directors and the management of the firm that they put on there. They didn't go through and evaluate every single holding, didn't forecast what inflation may be on the portfolio, what higher interest rates may be, what higher occupancy may be, whether it's more people in assisted living or nursing homes or better improvement in shopping centers. It's all an estimate. So I just wanted to shoot that out there to you. If you have questions, we can get the third-party research and kind of go over it. But remember, what you're owning is real estate. What you're seeing is a value of that real estate in that industry at a particular time. And if it's real estate, they're only looking at it once a year, and they're looking at about 20 to 25% of the properties. So it may not be as bad as it shows on the statement, or maybe they pick the 20 to 25% best properties and the other stuff is decaying, like it's a shopping center with 10% occupancy, and you've got homeless camps set up in there. But look at it. We can get on calls with the actual companies. We can get calls with this third party research firm, and can dig into it to help answer any questions that you might have.